Well, it is our time for our Wednesday backbench battle. And a very good morning to Labor MP Julian Hill and the Liberal MP Keith Wolahan. Folks, Paul Keating, he's blasted our top spy Mike Burgess for undermining the government's efforts to stabilise relations with China. Julian, to you first, do you agree with what Paul Keating has had to say about the ASIO boss, that he should be turfed out?
No, I think he's wrong on this issue. Mr Keating's views are well known, and he's a former leader of Australia who we talked about previously in our little segment here, who I deeply respect. And I think Keith, in many respects, expressed the same view. I dearly wish that the world had turned out as Mr Keating and the then government, then Labor government, was working towards in the 1980s and 90s. I really do. And the ASEAN summit today moves things in that direction. It's a really big moment for Australia and for deepening our relations in Southeast Asia, which was a big part of Mr Keating's focus and legacy. But it's a fact that the world and the region is worried about sabre rattling, is worried about pressure or breaking of the rules-based international order from which Australia has long benefited. And the government is focused on deterring conflict, not provoking conflict, on deterring conflict.
Yeah, you're right. The last couple of weeks we've had this panel. Paul Keating's come up a few times. It's almost timed to coincide with this. Keith, what do you make of the former Prime Minister's comments? I mean, he is revered by many in the Labor Party and around the country, but he doesn't get those security reports anymore.
No, he doesn't, and they're extremely unhelpful. And as I said previously on this show, I thought Paul Keating has interesting contributions on economics and reform. But when it comes to foreign policy in the world that we live in, I don't think he realises how things have changed. We live in a multipolar world, and an organisation like ASEAN is extremely important. And that has been conducted here in our home city of Melbourne for both myself and Julian. And we've seen also in Canberra in the Parliament, where we've had the leaders of Papua New Guinea and the Philippines address our Parliament in joint sittings. And then there was a speech recently at this summit by the Prime Minister of Singapore. And it just shows how out of touch Paul Keating is on this issue.